stop this thing, take control of your government. Don't let these arrogant, ignorant bureaucrats dictate to you what you can drink in your water supply.
250 million people are consuming it. It's highly effective, and I think it's a great pity that children in Yorkshire and North Wales and Liverpool aren't getting the same benefits today.
It's a classic example of how the citizen does not have a choice and how the charters do not work when professionals and politicians believe that something's good for you and you're going to get it whether you like it or not.
I listen to what the experts in the medical field have to tell me about its safety, and I am assured by them that it's safe.
Have you ever heard of a thing called fluoridation? Fluoridation of water?
Yes, I have heard of that, Jack, yes. Yes.
Well, do you know what it is?
No. No, I don't know what it is now.
Do you realize that fluoridation is the most monstrously conceived and dangerous communist plot we have ever had to face?
Once, fluoride was good for a laugh and comic drama. Today, plain facts are dramatic enough. It's one of the most toxic chemicals in existence. It's also a unique form of mass medication, added to the drinking water of 6 million people in Britain. It could soon be coming down the pipes to many millions more. Some say it's a medical marvel. Some say it does nothing but harm. A dental clinic in Bradford. Those who favour fluoride say it can cut tooth decay by 50%. Young children pass through these doors in their hundreds to have teeth removed under general anaesthetic. Bradford, without fluoride, has one of the worst dental health records in Britain.
Magic wind coming. Just blow it away. Blow it away if you don't like it. It's dreadful, really. Dreadful. At such a young age, but you have no choice. Sixes. I trained in Newcastle, where the water's been fluoridated since 1968, and we didn't see the decay that we see here, up there. Thank you.
Lee Colley is only 7. He's just had 6 rotten teeth removed.
Okay, sweetie. Okay, Lee. Lee, we're going. Lee, we're going to Mummy. Okay, Lee. Mummy's waiting, and Daddy.
Most children don't brush their teeth properly anyhow. They never get into all the corners where they should do, whereas if there's fluoride in the water, I'm sure it should help. You know, I can't see any problem with it.
It seems almost too easy to be true. Just turn a tap and you can halt the spread of tooth decay.
Although fluoride occurs naturally in some areas, it's been added artificially in others to a level of 1 part per million since the mid-1950s. Opponents, citing a wide range of potentially lethal side effects, have long been seen as eccentrics.
Authoress Barbara Cartland is one of fluoride's most militant critics. She, among many others, sees fluoridation as a threat to our health. So Miss Cartland's offering wild spring water to those who wish to buy it. Is fluoride harmful or healthful? We'll soon know. We'll all be drinking it.
Still, today, only 12% of us are drinking it. But Marjorie Brownson was one of the first. She lives on the island of Anglesey in North Wales. As fluoridation started, so did severe stomach cramps. Then, for 30 years, a 20-mile journey to and from the mainland to find non-fluoridated water.
I went away to stay with my daughter when she had her first child. And during the fortnight I was with her, I realised that the stomach problems I had cleared up. I read up what fluoride was and what it could possibly do. And from then on, I've searched for water from anywhere I could get it. On the island and off the island, in wells and in taps, and carried it for all those years.
All the arguments in the fluoride debate have been rehearsed here in this corner of northwest Wales. Anglesey, along with Watford and Kilmarnock, were the first areas in the country to fluoridate their water supply. The result, here, 37 years of dramatic improvements in dental health. But also, as elsewhere in the country, growing concern about the other effects of fluoride, effects on public health and local democracy. Fears for health produced fears for democracy. If every one of Anglesey's 70,000 people were to receive dental treatment through their water, shouldn't everyone be consulted? The only survey of public opinion showed 2/3 opposed to fluoridation.
If water has a fluoride already in it, they have no choice, and they particularly are saying we want to exercise this choice. If we want fluoride, then we will use fluoridated toothpaste or whatever. But we have no choice if it's in the water.
Internationally, fluoridation is increasingly contentious. Schemes in Sweden, the Netherlands and Chile have been halted. John Yamayanis is a biochemist from the USA, where most people still drink fluoridated water. Much of the opposition to that has been triggered by his work, which is highly controversial, but stands alongside a mounting pile of scientific papers, linking fluoride to genetic damage, bone defects and cancer.
Now at the time when we're finally able to show that fluoride is unsafe and ineffective, there are plans to promote fluoridation here, and I'm here to convince the people here in Britain that it should be removed from the limited number of people who are now consuming it.
6 million Britons drink water with added fluoride. According to figures obtained by Nature, health authorities now plan a rapid expansion to 21 million. The government, we understand, wants to go further, 3/4 of the population in this decade. But they won't discuss it. All our requests for interviews have been refused. But a national debate is underway. Already in Yorkshire, the biggest area facing fluoridation, 18 local authorities representing 3 million people have voted against. Virtually every measure of local opinion suggests widespread public opposition. This is Harrogate in North Yorkshire. It's a spa town. Its healing waters, as the brochures say, an attraction for nearly 400 years. Tonight, the attraction at the Royal Baths is the latest in a series of public meetings. The subject is water, because Harrogate, like all the rest of Yorkshire, faces fluoridation. And once again, fluoridation faces fierce public opposition.
I'm going to make you outraged by the time the night is over of the damage the fluoride has done to people. The damage it has done, whether it occurs naturally at high levels in the water supply or whether it's added artificially. Some people think just because things are natural, they're good for you. Well, I can tell you, you and I could go frolicking through the woods and pick some organically grown, naturally grown mushrooms and be naturally dead after eating them. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
The health authority wouldn't attend this meeting, organised by anti-fluoridation counsellors. Dr. Yamayanis, here with Sheila Gibson, founder of Doctors Against Fluoridation, is preaching to the converted. But in the fluoride debate, the two sides have always been far apart, their points of view polarized.
That fluoride does absolutely nothing to protect your teeth long term. There are no long-term benefits from fluoridation whatsoever. What does happen is that there is a delay in eruption of the teeth, and this leads to a delay in the onset of the caries.
I've 400 letters here, all stating no to fluoride, not one yes. So where did they get this bump, this glossy propaganda that everybody wants it? Where did they do the research? And will they show us the proof of all their findings? I mean, tonight, there's nobody here. What are they frightened of? If it is so safe and effective, why isn't there somebody stood here to show us, like you are, and like you are, Doctor, showing us the proof?
We have a substance that is very, very toxic. It is used as a rat poison. It's just slightly less toxic than arsenic and far more toxic than lead. And yet far more people are exposed to it. We get it in our food supply, we get it in our beverages. Even if we don't live in fluoridated areas, we're getting it through beverages that are made in fluoridated areas. So number one, it is highly toxic. And number two, it is widespread. And with those two things, we have something that in our country is causing at least a 5% increase in cancer death rate.
But those claims are disputed in the United States, and there is no evidence of such cancers in Britain's largest fluoridated area, the West Midlands. This school is aptly named. Its pupils are said to have the best teeth in Britain. Dr. Yamoyanis says no one here is really looking for the problems. His critics say he and his work are suspect.
If you go to the reputable medical bodies, the British Medical Association or the Royal College of Physicians, which is the premier medical body in Britain, or you go to the World Health Organization, they don't accept such anecdotal reports. They've looked at the evidence and have once again concluded that fluoride at 1 part per million is safe.
If your methods are not up to it, if you personally do not have the integrity, then how can anyone believe what you're saying? That's what the question is about.
Well, if you want me to say, basically, I can say this. My methods are reliable. They have been proven in court. They have been responsible for congressional action that mandated the Public Health Service carry on animal studies to show that fluoride was either safe or unsafe with regard to cancer. Those studies did come up showing fluoride did cause cancer, a rare form of liver cancer, oral cancers, and bone cancers in males.
I really can't accept, really, any of his views on fluoride, dental health, or fluoride and medical health. I mean, he's been campaigning against water fluoridation now for the last 20 years.
Pop off the tourniquet.
Another concern surrounds fluoride's effects on the immune system.
Just waiting for the blood to fill.
Marie Maxwell came for tests at this London lab because her home city, Glasgow, is planning fluoridation. Previous contact with fluoride has alarmed her.
The very first initial reaction was in the early 70s with toothpaste. I was gagging, retching, tears pouring down my face, little blood vessels getting burst. When I went to visit my sister down in Birmingham, I spent the whole fortnight in the room. I was really, really sick. I was in a lot of pain.
I was really very shocked when I first looked at fluoride in this regard, in that I was finding that levels as low as 0.1 parts per million, which is a tenth of what is sometimes added to water, can actually cause some quite dramatic changes in the white cells. That was really quite a shock to me, so much so that we repeated and repeated and repeated the work, because we initially hardly believed our own eyes.
Dr. Howard mixes Marie's blood with various levels of fluoride, checking how her white blood cells move round the body and attack infection. He's pioneering this test, which is not endorsed by the scientific community. Dr. Howard finds Marie's white cells are only 42% efficient even before fluoride is added. Her immune system is less than perfect. But the effect of adding fluoride, even at levels he believes match those judged safe for water supplies, is dramatic.
Okay, I have your results here. Unfortunately, after incubating at only 0.1 parts per million, that ability of the white cells to get to their target went down from 42% to only 20%. So that's only a fifth of their normal ability, and that's really quite a severe constriction on the ability of the immune system.
If fluoride damages your health, where's your quality of life? And what's the point of having perfect teeth if your quality of life in every other sphere may well be affected extensively, which has been the case with me.
If the anti-fluoridationists are wrong, then the worst that can happen is that dental health will be worse. If you're wrong, and fluoride is dangerous,
What
then
if
we are
I'm
talking...
wrong, if the medical profession's wrong?
If those who agree with you in the medical profession are wrong...
The majority of the people in the medical profession.
Then we are talking possibly cancer, bone defects, immune deficiency. Why should we take that risk?
I don't think there is a risk.
But is there a safe or unsafe dose? Apart from water, many foods like fish and tea are naturally high in fluoride. Toiletries and most of all toothpaste can boost intakes well above any officially regulated level. Just up the road from the fluoridationist's favourite school, teeth scarred by fluoride. 8-year-old Kylie Murtha is suffering from dental fluorosis, a permanent and officially acknowledged effect of fluoride. Solicitor Paul Balin is gathering fluorosis cases from around the country. Here he blames the combination of West Midlands water and fluoride toothpaste.
If fluoride is added to the water supply, I think we can anticipate that it's added at an optimal level. So the question that needs to be asked is, why is it necessary for any additional source of fluoride to be used?
When Carly got her first tooth, I rushed out and bought the fluoride toothpaste. So I thought I was doing her a great favour, and rigorously cleaned it sort of twice a day and after meals.
What kind of toothpaste did you use?
Okay, that was this one here.
And it's fluoride toothpaste because it says it's got monofluorophosphate.
That's right.
But it doesn't have anything written on the back, does it?
No.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all. So we'll be able to demonstrate that had you known about this, you wouldn't have given them the fluoride toothpaste.
That's
now you
correct.
know about it, you don't give
We
it to
don't
them.
give them fluoride toothpaste now. If it does this to Kylie in a few years, what's it going to do to the rest of us over 20 years?
For years, fluoride toothpaste was marketed as if fluoride itself was the product, the paste almost an afterthought. Today, it's very hard to find toothpaste without fluoride, even if you live in an area where fluoride is already added to your water, as it is in the West Midlands.
Most of this has got fluoride in, hasn't it?
Does the Sensodyne contain it? No, it does look. I suppose all toothpaste does. No. So what do you use?
The National Poisons Unit, part of Guy's Hospital, gives advice to doctors and NHS staff on poisoning cases.
Your staff nurse in A&E.
It regularly answers calls about patients, mainly children, who may have overdosed on fluoride in toothpaste.
If it was adult toothpaste containing the maximum concentration of fluoride, which is 150 milligrams per 100-gram tube, then a third of a tube would represent, in theory, a dangerous dose.
And there is evidence of official concern about the combined effects of different sources of fluoride. Here, from the Health Authority in North Nottinghamshire this summer, a warning sent out to households about to receive fluoridated water. Once treatment begins, give up taking supplementary fluoride in any other form.
Toothpaste is a different question because fluoride toothpaste is designed to be spat out. You don't eat toothpaste. And therefore, we would expect people in a fluoridated district to use the fluoride toothpaste as usual. But we do say to mothers of all young children, whether fluoride district or non-fluoride district, to use a pea size of fluoride toothpaste on the brush and to give the child some supervision up to, say, 6 years of age.
So that is a complete contradiction. You know that children do swallow large amounts of toothpaste.
Yes, but they shouldn't put large amounts of toothpaste on the brush, and then they won't swallow large amounts.
But risks from fluoride toothpaste in areas of fluoridated water, like Anglesey, have been officially acknowledged. In the 1970s, head teachers there were warned not to accept free samples of fluoride paste for their pupils. This advice has never been widely circulated.
Dentists or anybody never mention this sort of thing to you, sort of
Probably
thing. They
too late
advertise
for
a
us.
brush or anything like that, you know, that I'll go round corners and get to parts that ordinary brushes don't and all this business, you know.
I mean, it's too late for us, I suppose, but there's the little ones, isn't there?
Fluoride free co-op. Right, I will buy that.
There can be a lot of fluoride in toothpaste. Instructions only to use a pea-sized amount are some kind of guard against overdose, but you rarely see warnings against swallowing it. In areas where the water supplies are fluoridated, the combined effect of paste and water must be greater. Yet the manufacturers promote and sell their product just the same everywhere. We wanted to talk to the UK's major toothpaste manufacturers about this policy. They all declined.
The summer of '93. From BBC Radio York.
This hour we're
In Yorkshire, the Health Authority comes out to face its critics at a fluoridation phone-in.
I'll start with Dr. John Beale. The opposition to this has gone on for a long time. It continues now. Do you feel rather uncomfortable at the scale of it and the fact that the Health Authority, which you're acting for, is still pushing ahead with plans to put fluoride in water?
I think it quite wrong that someone from a minority who wishes to not have fluoride adjusted in their water supply is able to push that point of view to the detriment of other people.
I think that's all a lot of eyewash.
I've never heard such rubbish in all my life.
If this is wrong, all the children born after it is added to the water, the only thing that they will have is possibly the best teeth in the cemetery.
We've had a load of calls on the programme this morning. Not one has been pro putting fluoride in water.
Well, as I've already said, the opponents are very, very vociferous. What I know from my own experience is that it's an effective measure, it's a safe measure, it has overwhelming public support from independently conducted public opinion polls, and it is really about time that the people of Yorkshire were able to receive the benefits which they deserve.
This is the overwhelming public support to which Dr. Beale refers, the result, much quoted, of a poll which was commissioned by the British Fluoridation Society. The key to the answer possibly lies in the question, which gives no hint of any other side to the argument. Given, frankly, the loaded nature of that question, you've had since then the views of elected representatives, all against fluoridation. You're a non-elected authority, you yourself are non-elected. Why are you ignoring the views of the elected representatives?
They're not being ignored at all. Every local authority was invited by the health authorities to make their views known during the consultation process.
And you know what they think?
All of the comments they made and the reasons they gave for their decision were considered in great detail.
And we on this side of the House...
But the fluoride debate may produce significant political change. The Shadow Health Secretary wants Labour to review its long-standing support for fluoridation.
Fluoride can have an impact on people's well-being, and even if fluoride is good for us as opposed to being harmful for us, and even as I think most people would accept that it does help prevent tooth decay in children, I don't believe we should put fluoride in the water supply as a mass medication, because I don't think that gives us any choice, and I think it's a very dangerous principle. We could put vitamin C in the water supply because professionals tell us it's good for us, but that wouldn't make it right.
The Prime Minister's much publicised Citizens' Charter is supposed to guarantee patients the right to a clear explanation of any treatment proposed, including any risks and any alternatives, before deciding whether to agree to it. We've been trying to get a clear explanation of government policy on fluoride throughout the making of this programme, and with no success. Fluoridation isn't on the agenda of this NHS conference here today in Bournemouth, but the Secretary of State for Health is here, and we've just heard Mrs. Bottomley in the main conference hall speak of renewing armed combat to take forward the fluoridation of water supplies in Britain.
I think the first anniversary of the Health of the Nation strategy, beginning of July, I hope we'll all be participating in it, might be the right springboard to renew armed combat and to see if we can't take it forward.
Thank you. We're from the BBC programme Nature. My name's Mike Embley. We've been trying for 2 months to get answers from your department about fluoride. Now, your department has refused to put you or any other minister up for interview. It's refused to take written questions, and it's now just lately refused even to give reasons for its refusals. Can you tell us why fluoridation is such a sore subject?
Well, why don't you come and have a proper interview about it? If you, rather than bouncing me at the press conference here,
Well,
why don't you I don't want to negotiate. I will make it my
You've
business.
been dealing with fluoride at this
I'll make
conference and at the press conference.
I'll make it my business
Can
to
you
make
at
sure you
least
get an
confirm
answer.
that the government does have plans to fluoridate 75% of the UK population by the end of the decade?
I'd very much like to be sure you get proper answers to your question.
Mrs. Bottomley was true to her word. Her department issued a statement saying the government believes fluoridation is a safe and effective means of preventing tooth decay. The government therefore welcomes any increase in the areas covered. The statement continues, there is no evidence to show that fluoridation has any adverse effect. The department would offer us no further contribution to the public debate. But now on Anglesey, no fluoride. To the dismay of government and health authority, North Wales, the first part of Britain to fluoridate, has now become the first to take it out.
The last time fluoride was used here at the Kevney was in 1991.
The newly privatised Welsh Water Company is demanding a government indemnity against the risks it says are associated with fluoride to workers handling it and customers drinking it.
The addition of fluoride, we feel, does nothing to enhance the water supply itself, and there is a risk factor, a great risk factor.
And even without incidents or accidents, without overdosage, you're concerned about putting fluoride down the pipes, even at 1 part per million?
Well, far less than that, but yes, we are. There's no doubt at all.
New laws could force fluoridation on reluctant water companies and on Mrs. Brownson, now fluoride-free.
I don't have to carry water anymore. Although I quite enjoyed the trips. Because I had my special places to go. So, I quite enjoyed the run out, and I would do it again if I had to, obviously. And so now, we can have as many cuppers as we like. Iechyd da, as they say in Welsh.
For some, fear of fluoride is replacing the age-old fear of the dentist's chair. The government says that can only mean more pain for more children like 9-year-old Aaron Patel.
Come on, sweetie. Part with that.
21 million people may also have an opinion, but will they be heard?
I see Mummy now. You open those eyes for us, Aaron.
An epidemic is sweeping Britain, now affecting 15% of the population. Last year, killing 3 times as many people as AIDS. It's called asthma. Next week's programme uncovers new evidence that car exhaust may be a cause of the disease.